Let us continue then, shall we? Welcome back to the Divine Deception. Let me adjust. Yes, no. Okay, this is the question. Does Bach have a deep, important secret he's hiding from Locke? The survey says. Well, I don't know, last week was kind of a bad week engagement-wise, because usually they didn't get like 40 or so votes. This one kind of... Maybe it's my fault for saying that the episode was about politics in the title. Maybe that caused YouTube to kind of bury it. Or maybe that just naturally drove people away because they don't want to watch a video which involves fictional politics. Which, fair enough, that was probably a mistake on my part. It was honest, but probably a mistake in terms of the handling YouTube engagement and all that jazz. But anyway, let's do some math. Those of you who did find the poll in the video, thank you. And now let's figure out the percentage of my chips I'm throwing on the line here. Doing 62%. 81 minus 19. So, I'm wagering 62% of my chips. Holy crap. On a yes. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Free money. Now time to bet big. I'm gonna get burned on this. What you betting? Thanks for the nice even number. Alrighty then. That's all I had. On to other scenes. I'm totally getting burned on this, aren't I? Which, understandable. Understandable. For the content, if I want to actually make money, I can go back and min-max my run to get to all the chips I possibly can. If there's something we're spending chips on at the end of the game, I don't actually know. Alright, it's time for Vels. Spooked! So then they lay siege to the castle. Hi, Krish. Which, fair. They want to take over shit. They gotta actually take over shit. I respect that. The main dude of the house orders the raiders to lay waste to all the citizens to send a message? Whoa, which fucking no indication of that lead up. Meanwhile, while the battle's going on, the house's lady ends up banging the older blacksmith guy. And I mean, first off, time and place, girl. Anyway, the main dude ends up getting hit in the neck with an arrow by that dipshit order kid from before. Revenge for his shitty father, I guess. Are you reading Game of Thrones? And also the kid sucks too? He was a pompous jackass who was incredibly entitled. Then middle of the battle, it just cuts away. Over on the other side of the map, the Iron Queen strikes up an alliance with the wolves to lay waste to all the other factions. But I don't like the Iron Queen. I definitely don't think the wolves would be good to lead. It's played as a triumphant moment, but in reality it's like the team up between two allying villains. Then it just ends. That's the note they go out on. Sequel hook? I mean, obviously, but still. Usually they try and create some sort of conclusion. Just a bit of it. So people get a sense that they've read a finished chapter of the grander story, whatever. True. As it stands, they just sort of stop in the middle of the proceedings. That's not a cliffhanger, that's just a bad ending. Exactly. I don't know. Kind of not really interested in seeing where it goes. At this point, it kind of just feels like a battle of assholes. Everyone remotely good died pretty early on. And maybe that can work. There's something to be said for watching assholes go to war with each other. When everyone's despicable in one way or another, I just struggle to find someone to latch on to. Without anyone to latch on to, how am I supposed to be invested? Maybe just try and root for the relatively least bad? That's sort of a meager aspiration to strive for, yeah? Sure. It was a familiar type of conversation. An unfamiliar situation. We had talked many times about disappointing books, but never had we done so in the dead of the night in the middle of the forest. How'd we get here? Ah, well. Sometimes it just was like that. Anyways, might not have liked it all too much, but it did get me thinking. A rarity. Fuck off. That one was a softball. You set yourself up for that one. Fair enough. Anyways, no, I was thinking about what counts as good or bad. Pretty much all the main characters in the story were unquestionably horrible. I don't think there's much to argue on that part. That kind of got me thinking. Everybody in this setup was horrible. In that case, does that kind of make none of them horrible? If horrible is the norm, is anyone truly horrible? Huh? I don't follow. I mean, if everyone's acting bad, then maybe none of them are all that bad. Like, you sort of have to blame more their environment than their personal failings at that point. Judging them by our morals of right and wrong might be a bad way of thinking about it. You're talking about relative morality. Am I? You are. Then I guess I'm talking about relative morality. I guess so. So you're just gonna dismiss everything bad that happens because of the standards of the seating? Standards of the setting? It's a dangerous slope of thinking. I'm not dismissing shit. I'm not putting everything on just that. It's just, you know. The other way to explain it is that every single person that was born in this setup happened to be born evil. I don't like thinking about it that way. I like to think that humans aren't born evil with that frequency. If you throw away that possibility, you have to say that good people could still do shitty things in that scenario. Which, fair. What? You don't agree? I mean, you gotta factor in context. Not saying to ignore that. Nobody's saying that. Also saying I don't like chalking away right and wrong to a matter of scales toward each other. I think there are some things that are just objectively bad. Some things just objectively good. Not saying I can't have sympathy, that I don't acknowledge it would be a lot harder to be good given your circumstances. But you do bad things, you're a bad person. Everything beyond that is just set dressing. Huh. You know, I didn't think you'd go that way on this, Vels. Truly, I'm a question wrapped inside an enigma. Just kind of seems simplistic for you. Sometimes simplistic just means right. So you're saying that certain actions are bad, right? No ifs, ands, or buts. The actions are just bad? I don't think that's right. You kill somebody in self-defense, that's not the same as murder. Those aren't the same act. Those aren't the same actions. One is self-defense, the other is murder. Obviously. I mean, okay, fair. But can't there be... Oh, I know. Aren't there, like, different moral codes in different situations? Like honor among thieves. You steal from a thief, then the thief steals back from you. It's kind of different than a thief just stealing from an innocent person. Those thieves have a sort of understanding between them. Stealing is just part of the thief game when it's between thieves. You realize that's not what honor among thieves means, right? Oh, whatever. You get my point though, right? I get it, sure. I just don't think it holds up. You're saying criminals get to have their own moralities when interacting with each other. That if you're in the crime game, doing things to people in the game is more permissible. Yeah, sort of like that. Then what? Is it cool to kill a killer? That's just part of the game? Well... What about killing a thief? Not a low-rate thief. Major thief. Someone who's stolen millions. Someone who stole money from somebody who needed it for a life-saving procedure. Because of that theft, the person who got stolen from died. That is the thief a killer? Can the killer kill the thief? What if the person who needed that procedure could have been saved by a rich acquaintance, but the acquaintance didn't pay for the surgery because they wanted the first person to die? Then is it morally permissible to kill the rich dude? I don't fucking know. It depends. On what? Context and all. Code changes on a case-by-case basis. It doesn't seem like a solid foundation. I'm not creating like a legal system, yo. I'm just talking about... You haven't really thought out this philosophy, have you? No, matter of fact, I haven't. Do I have to? People have to write out papers on what they want to believe? Can they just believe what they feel's right? Hey look, you're the one who brought this up as a conversation. I'm not saying you're wrong to believe what you believe, whatever you're believing in. Just give it my 2 cents. Right. Like Krish and I were getting into more pointless arguments as of late. That probably wasn't a good sign. These things just kind of happen. Maybe something to look into before long. But it couldn't be helped. Regardless, we'd been wasting too much time. We pick the discussion up another time. We're not creeping around the forest in the dead of night for fun, you know. You haven't forgotten what we came here to do, have you? No. What do you take me for? But also, quick refresher. I sighed. Hey, you didn't explain it all that well. I almost let Krish do this by themselves. I was this close. Jesus. Okay, calm down, you're right. For now, all we're trying to do is startle this house's owner. Mm-hmm. For a good reason? Yes. Probably. I don't like your tone of voice. Could we just get to it already? Alright, what do you want me to do? Just look, for now, stay here. Before we start, I've got something I need to set up. Alright. Just like that, I walked away, towards the house. I approached the front porch. There were no cameras, right? I checked for them ahead of time, couldn't find anything. Maybe I missed something. No, I was being paranoid. No cameras. Right now, it was late enough that there shouldn't be any chance that the homeowner might see me through a window or some shit. I should be fine. Went right up to the front steps and bent down. Took out a plastic bag from my pocket. Then gingerly, with a rag, I reached into the plastic bag and placed that pre-made note. On the wooden porch. It was paper taken from a common store. The message was written in letters clipped out from various newspapers. Cliché, I know. But it's a cliché for a reason. The letter was suitably vague and threatening. I figured the more details I put, the worse it'd be. Best to keep things general. Dearest Tyrant, hope this note finds you in bad health. Because injustice reigns, I doubt that to be the case. How does it feel living life good while the rest suffer? How does it feel wearing a smiling face while holding a knife behind your back? How does it feel being a sinner? It's sad. So sad, but it turns out you can't live the way you have forever. Eventually your crimes will hurt the wrong person. Me. This time you've gone too far. You've forced my hand. You've plunged me into hell. So I'll do the same to you. Bring you to where you belong. This is just the beginning. Do struggle. I'd like to be entertained. Ha 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 ha. Love, the devil you don't. Was it a little much? I don't know, I kinda liked it. Now the last bit was a nice touch. It was a nice little touch. When you throw in vague specificities like that, people tend to fill in the blanks. Maybe it was a little much. Krish might have been the better altered choice, being an aspiring writer and all. But he wasn't looking to make a masterpiece in threatening letters. I was trying to get a blunt point across. Made my way back over to Krish. Okay, now we're ready to begin. Cool. What does that mean exactly? Let's just try smashing some windows. Maybe do some vague whooping and hollering. Whooping and hollering? I don't know, I'm just saying we should be intimidating. Alright. I can do intimidating. I somewhat doubt it, but let's just get to work. Krish leaned down and picked up a rock. Look at your fingerprints on it. Oh, right. Sorry, new at this. So am I. Don't need to rub it in. They pulled a rag out of their pocket and picked up a rock. I did the same. We exchanged a look. And then, simultaneously, we both sent rocks flying through the nearest window. Krish began letting out a low-pitched hollering, and I joined in with him. Oh! We ran over the next window and sent another rock. This was kind of fun. Through the window we went, sending rocks crashing. Tried seeing how fast we could get from one window to another. Despite their initial hesitations, Krish also got into it pretty soon. Okay, and stop. As soon as we got into this, we came to a stop. Went quiet. My hand signaled we retreated back into the woods. We had done our part. No fucking way the homeowner didn't hear that. Continuing like this would just increase the risk of getting caught. Still, I wanted to get a good look at the front of the house. See if my note was effective. Waved Krish to follow me and circled back round to the front. We were pretty far into the woods. It was dark. It was cover. We'd be fine. Now let's see you. Oh! Right on time, Governor Aisha made her way to the front door. Well! All things considered, she was looking pretty composed. Miffed, if anything. There was a bit of fear. Hopefully enough. She quickly noticed the note and scanned through it. Wanted to see her reaction. Was vague confusion? Suppose that was reasonable enough. Not the best case scenario, though. Looked around some, hoping to see whoever left the note. Of course, this was a pointless endeavor. Probably knew that as well. Finally, with a dejected look, she retreated back to the house. Okay. That went about as well as could be hoped. Now we wait. Right. Because... well, you really didn't listen to anything I said. You have a habit of speaking very softly, Vels. Especially when others are around. Then ask me to repeat shit. I know you just explained it again when we got here. That shouldn't be... whatever. Everything goes right. We should have scared Aisha somewhat. Apparently because of that, some guy should be arriving here soon. That is why we made that mess in the first place. Right. Is this... this has to be a follow-up to Locke. Locke knew a guy who could get info on Aisha's personal assassin. And now we're causing a storm at Aisha's mansion with the intent of her calling someone to her, which has to be Devin, Aisha's personal assassin. And so why do we care about this again? Because I don't really like the idea of messing with the governor without a really good reason. I don't know if it's a really good reason, but it is a job. For who? This greasy gambler dude, named Locke. Pretty sure you wouldn't know him. You don't know that? I know a lot of people in this city. I mean, sure. Do you know a gambler named Locke? No. Okay then. How do you? It was a fluke. Guy was getting harassed by these drunk punks. They were mad at some bet that happened. Stepped in, saved his ass. He appreciated it. Said he saw potential in me. Said he could use someone with my skills, whatever that means. Gave me his number, told me to call him sometime when I wanted a job. Ended up calling it at some point on a whim more than anything. Then the other day he called me. Told me he needed some contract work. Explained this plan to screw with Governor Aisha, the one we're doing right now. Offered decent cash for it. So you're just harassing people for cash? The way the guy explained it, this is a weird form of self-defense. Honestly, I wouldn't doubt it. Besides, it's not like we had anything else to go on. Krish didn't say anything. They just looked at me. They clearly had something on their mind, but they weren't saying anything. Well, that was fine. I could wait in silence. Krish was always the one who spoke up first. What? Vels? You called Locke before the mess with the Duats began, right? Right. Been a bit busy since then. So then if he has your number, then it's the same phone as back then. Right. Uh-oh. You had your phone on you when you were ambushed by the Duats. I know that. Pretty sure you never had an opportunity to trash it. But you told me to get rid of my phone. You said I could be tracked. I mean, I threw it out of a car. I didn't tell you to do that. It was implied. I threw it out and you kept yours? Where's the fairness in that? Damn. Krish really was a lot more clever than I gave them credit for. They could track your phone. They didn't have the slightest lead on who I am. And why's that? Because I'm a non-entity. Went over this, Krish. They don't know me. I don't know you. Keep it down. Whoa. This is more serious than I gave it credit for. Krish, what are you saying? You know me. No, I don't. I don't know where you live. I don't know what you do most of the time. I don't know what's up with your parents, if you have any siblings, where you moved from. I don't know any of that. Those are just, details. Details? They're fucking fundamental parts of your life, Vels. Dude's got a point. We were on the run from criminals and you still couldn't open up about them. It's like, fuck! Are we friends? Who are you? Krish has a point. Who are you? Who are you, Vels? Seriously? Krish began to walk away, head hung low. They were shaking it like they couldn't believe things. Tried following them, making sure they hadn't gotten too far away. Then all of a sudden they turned to a nearby tree and they slammed their fist into it. Fuck! A look of rage consumed Krish's face. Once I was legitimately speechless. I hadn't seen them like this before. They were truly, truly pissed off. You done goofed, Locke. Vels. I don't know. Who are you? All I could do was look on, dismayed. Fuck! Fuck! Seriously, Vels? Why? What's the problem? Why can't you confide in me? He looked surprised at me. You know, I know we like to keep things light. We hung out to just, shoot the shit. Hung out before all this started, that is. We kept it light. Maybe you thought that since I was all smiley and shit, that I was just living a casual, carefree life. I felt the need to always correct me on my ideas of becoming a writer. As though I wasn't painfully aware that I'm not cut out for it. Krish, I was never... Do you think I got us into this mess for fun? I was an idiot for trying to organize the Duat thing? Like, okay, yeah, maybe I fucked up by not thinking things through properly. I'll take the blame on that. I'll take the blame right there. But I didn't do that on a whim, Vels. I didn't have it easy before now. Never had it easy, goddamn. I mean, you know me, Vels. As close to the chest as you may keep it. I've never hesitated to open up to you about my past or shit. Do you really think I had it easy growing up here? Think I didn't fucking grapple all the time with my class? My race? Fuck, my gender? Panthea might be a diverse group, but it just means it's got a diverse group of assholes. I mean, fuck, even my dad. He tries, you know, he supports me and stuff, but he's never really gotten it either. All my life I've had to deal with so much shit. And you know, I could fucking handle it. Because I'm tough. Tougher than most of these fuckers that crowd the city. Get gangsters or bigots or assholes, none of them are shit. Made it my mission on day one to not let them get to me. I kept my head up. Kept on smiling. It's a positive, funny, cool ball that no one could talk shit about. Speaking of the people, friend all, that's me, Krish. If it's dumb, I'll reach out to help. If it's really fucking dumb on my part. But you know, it's not like things didn't still get to me. Not like just because I faced down all this shit with a smile, it doesn't weigh on me every goddamn day. Krish, you... Fuck, you know what, Vels? You know why I tell you all this? You know why it stings? Because I thought you understood me, Vels. I wanted you to understand me. You know, even when we first met, I thought you were really cool. The more I got to know you, the more I felt that deep down we were similar. You know, a lot of people, sure, they're nice enough. They don't really get me, none of them could. But I thought, I wanted you to get me. I wanted us to be close. I wanted one goddamn person in this city that could really, really rely on. You can rely on me, Krish. Clearly not. I mean, right? Thought we were friends. Be friends, that understanding I was talking about has to be a two-way street. And I was fine doing most of the talking because I thought you were just, I don't know, shy or some shit. But you still can't open up to me at all. I mean, were you always just uninterested? No, Krish, I wasn't faking anything. Why don't you tell me anything? Ask it who you are right now, friend to friend. And you can't answer. Your timing is awful, Krish, but you still, worst thing about this, you have a very good point, Krish, but you have terrible timing. I had to say something. I couldn't leave that unanswered. I couldn't. I didn't kid myself into thinking I was some sort of great person. After all that, I owed Krish something. It wasn't something I often like to do, but I decided to recount the turning point in my life. I wasn't born in Panthea. Ah, yeah? Pretty obvious, Vels. Why are you bringing that up? Took a deep breath in. Calm. I grew up in a reasonably nice city. I wasn't rich, but definitely wasn't poor. I had a nice family. Only child, which I appreciate. My parents were nice folk, worked honest jobs. Went to school, had a couple acquaintances, a really good friend. Did decently at school, too, if you'd believe it. It's a version of me that actually grows up and goes to college, but becomes like a science professor or some shit. Can you imagine that? Me, an actual professor or something? Yeah, weirdly enough, I sorta can. Krish was a lot less talkative now. They clearly recognized at this point that I was actually opening up. Honestly, that would probably never happen. In the best of circumstances, I don't think a boring life like that's for me. But you know, I could have been something worthwhile. Don't say that. You are worthwhile. Maybe you're right. Sometimes I question that. Commenting on what ifs is a pretty worthless practice. Hypothesizing about possible futures, that's fodder for people with too much time on their hands. Shit for dreamers that don't get shit done. Like it or not, there's only one life, and mine didn't end up that way. You know, I still remember that night. Waiting for my dad to come back home. Unaware. It took me a while to realize something was wrong. When I heard the news, well, I thought it was a joke. Surely that couldn't be right. How could my dad be dead? It wasn't... You know, I think on some level you're still a kid until you come face to face with your first genuine tragedy. Tragedy like that thoroughly makes you confront the arbitrariness and cruelty that life has to offer you. At that point, you go through being aware that death and true despair are things that can occur to a person. It's more of a conceptual understanding. When you encounter it firsthand, you change. By that metric, there are plenty of adults that get well into their 30s, with still never having to really grow up in this way. And there are some kids who grow up far sooner than they should have to. And you were one of those kids? Very astute, Krish. Yeah, my dad's death fucked me up quite badly. Through every stage of grief, and I lingered in each one for longer than the last. Island bargaining didn't last all that long in the wider scope of things. But anger? Oh, I had anger to spare. It would have been much more fine if it was an accident. Natural cause of death. Do you know how my dad died? I think you'll get a real kick out of this. I don't think I will. Stray shot in the spat of gang violence. Yeah, that's right. Unintended casualty in another person's war. At least that was what the police thought. Only problem was, the police weren't able to identify any suspects. They couldn't go after anybody. Too hard a case, I guess. Of course, I had other ideas about why they weren't pressing charges, but no proof to back it up. Bottom line was, I was told pretty clearly that my dad's killer wasn't going to be brought to justice anytime soon. They'd get to just walk away. They wouldn't pay the price. Huh. Can you guess how that made me feel? Furious? Furious? Huh. No, I don't think that's quite right. Furious doesn't paint the right picture. It implies I was raging, ready to lash out at anyone and anything. I was blinded by emotions. No, what overtook me was a cold anger. A far more dangerous one. Fury may get people to dangerously lash out, but a cold anger is the thing that you should really worry about. Probably not a great sign that I default to cold anger, all things considered. It says horrible things about my character. That's what happened. I was overcome with an icy cold anger. Determination to find the one responsible. And then to get even. You? I hired a private investigator to look into the case. A good one. In the meantime, I train. Physically, that is. If you ever wondered why I was a good fighter, well, yeah, my dad's killer to think. Day and night, every free second I had, I was on an insane training regimen. It'd say a lot about me. But I'm nothing if not determined. Before this point, I never really saw the need for violence. I thought it crass. Almost beneath me, if that makes any sense. It was a dumb philosophy. A senseless one. Everything has a place in life. So I got fit. I learned how to fight. It was a quick study. Guess they must be a natural or something. And I bided my time. Eventually, private investigator found out what was responsible for my dad's death, and well, it's pretty obvious, huh? I stalked him. I set up a perfect situation, and I ambushed him. He was with 3 of his friends, and I was alone, but it was still an easy fight. I had the element of surprise that they were really just amateurs. Kids, not much older than me. Turns out the killer was the son of a leader of a prominent gang that had infested this city for years. He was digging around, trying to prove himself just as big and bad a gang leader as his son. As a gang leader's son ought to be. And then, I don't know the specifics of what went down, and I don't care. I knew the outcome, and that was enough. After thoroughly beating and scattering his little entourage, it was just me and the bastard in an empty room. He got on his knees, apologizing, crying, pissing his pants. It was honestly pathetic. And what did you do after that? I did exactly what I trained for. I beat him. Hit him over and over and over. Pulled some truly brutal moves on him. Beat him half to death. Let me be clear. I don't approve of how I handled things back then. I was younger, dumber, and more filled with rage. Then again, maybe I haven't grown up all that much. It's not like I exactly regret what I did to the little punk. Honestly, considering what happened next, maybe I should have killed him. Might have been for the best. Killed him? Wait, what happened next? Think, Krish. The story just ended there. It wouldn't exactly explain how I got to this point in my life, now would it? That's... Come on, Krish. You're pretty smart deep down. You should be able to guess what happens next. I've given you all the clues you need. It all led to this gang leader's son. Didn't finish the job. Thought myself pretty sharp, but clearly not sharp enough. So I didn't account for the very obvious next step. That said gang leader wouldn't let this insult pass. They went and got vengeance. Vengeance in the form of my mom. What? Get me wrong, they tried to go for me too. I just managed to get away. My poor mom? Mother, who never did anything wrong. Instead of turning to vengeance like me, retreated to grief after the news. Yeah, she ended up paying for my mistakes. Dad's death, that was a tragic accident that couldn't have been avoided. My mom's? That one's all on me. Vels. It's almost funny how stupid I was. See, this is what I mean when I say I'm worthless. My family was ripped apart from me, and it was all my fault. You can't say that. It wasn't your fault. You didn't know they'd do that. But I should have. I had to hold back a genuine choke there. Damn it, was I seriously getting emotional now? Thought I was past this. Fuck. This is why I didn't like reminiscing like this. This is why I prefer to keep moving forwards. Ah. This is what I needed to do to keep Krish content. It had to be done. Anyways, yeah. I am sorry, you know? And I'm more closed off. I've always kind of been a private person. And I said I had friends or whatever, but I'm always kind of, you know, done things by myself. My personal life, my personal history, it's all stuff that I really don't like to think about. You say that you like hanging out with me because you think I understand you, and I do. Honestly, I like hanging out with you because it helps me forget myself. After the incident, I couldn't exactly stick around. There was still an active hit out for me, so I fled. That's why you ended up in Panthea, huh? I mean, more or less. Damn. What's happening with me? What's happening with me and the Duats? If I've been acting a bit weird, it's probably because this whole thing hits a lot closer to home than maybe you would have realized. Krish, you're different from me. Your life hasn't been blown apart. It wouldn't feel right if I watched you follow in my footsteps. They're not. I don't think you'd follow well in them. For once I couldn't read Krish's expression. Made sense. Dropped a lot on them. Two of us just stood in silence for a couple of moments. After a bit, Krish spoke up. Vels, you know, if you had just told me all this, I would have understood. Yeah, you probably would have, huh? The story is just so horrible. I kind of feel bad. I'm standing here, going off about my problems while you've been... No, you know, I think you had some valid things to complain about, Krish. I mean, maybe, but still. Made you open up about something so painful in your past. You couldn't make me do shit. I felt like opening up to you. Well, thanks. It's good to know you trust me enough to say all that. Seeing as what we've gone through up until now, it'd probably be weird if I didn't, no? Yeah, probably. Still though, damn. Some heavy shit, Vels. Elegantly put, as always. So wait, I'm still confused about some points. Like, okay, that explains a lot. What about where you've been staying? What you've been doing? What's that all about? Look, Krish, I know you think yourself tough. It's really for the best if you let me handle things. It'll take a lot to get you out of the shit you're in. I'm more than happy to do that. I won't do that, but it's best if I handled it myself. What? You can't do it, it's my issue. I should handle it myself, or at least help. See, this is what I was worried about. This is why I don't want to tell you all about all this. Vels, I can't have you doing dangerous stuff on my behalf. I'm telling you, you're not making me do it, I'm doing it. It's just better if I handle things, plain and simple. Better? How is it? Just then, they shut up. We both shut up. In these supposedly silent woods, we both heard a loud sound. The sound of a car's engine. Quick, get to cover. I didn't need to tell Krish twice. They immediately ran over and hid behind a bush. For my part, I circled a tree and leaned right against it. Getting to their hiding spot, Krish looked at me in confusion. What are you doing? Shh. I put my finger to my mouth with urgency. The car was getting closer and closer. Any second now, it'd be here. I'd be in prime position to get the shot. There. The car was stopping. I heard the sound of somebody getting out. Footsteps closer and closer, moving towards the door. They got a glance at the man. Saw their silhouette. Yeah, that's probably the guy. It's way too dark right now to get a proper look, though. Needed to wait. Back behind cover. Then I heard a knock. Then I heard a door opening. It beat, anticipating a nervous look around. Then slowly I leaned back out of cover. Right there, Governor Aisha was talking with a man right at the doorstep. Porch lights were now turned on. Two were close, clearly in hushed conversation. Could see the man's side profile clearly. So this was what I was looking for. Very carefully I took out my phone and moved to the camera app. Lined up the shot just right. And... got it. Lighting my phone at minimum brightness, I checked the shot. Awesome. Awesome. The phone back in my pocket. Hid right up against the tree. Now just wait for when it was safe. Hopefully the first order she gave the man wasn't hunt around the house for the troublemakers. If that happened, I'd be really screwed. I didn't exactly have a natural escape hatch from here without clearly being seen. Worst comes to worst, I could just run. Probably could get away. Krish, on the other hand, probably. Nothing else to do, I tried listening in on Governor Aisha and the mystery band's conversation the best I could. It's really hard to make out anything from this distance. Still, I tried my best to pick up what I could. Clear threat. Suspects. Deal. None. Lock. Failure. Revenge. Unlikely. No trace. Campaign. Juvenile. Prank. Possible. Ungrateful. Civil. Title. Still annoying. These days. Soon. Change. Treat. Legitimate threat. Action. Unnecessary. Change my mind. Definitely. Childish. No reason. Advertise. Live it. Threat. Or something. Stay alert. Until the future. And be safe. Stay guard. In case. Just for... Of the dozens of words exchanged between the two figures, only a couple actually managed to be somewhat... What's the word for legible, but left for, like, hearing a word and understanding it? Audible? Definitely a word for that. There's a word for that, right? If not, there should be. Easy pops up. Do you know what the word for that is? Let's make a bet on it. Anyway, I couldn't hear much shit. But through the bits I could pick up, I more or less deduced the general shape of their conversation. Let's do a word search to find out. No, wait, this isn't Danganronpa. Not that it really mattered. I had gotten what I came for. The next step was simply getting out of here undetected. Luckily for me, it looked like I'd soon have the opportunity. I heard the conversation die down, and the door opened. And then, silence. Waited for a few seconds before popping my head out. What I heard already told me the answer, but just in case I checked to see if the car was still by Aisha's house. It was. Probably wanted to run around and take a picture of the car's license plate as well. To do that, I'd have to run across into the open. It's an unnecessary risk for an unnecessary action. Best to cash out now. Walked over to the bush that Krish was hiding behind and tapped him on the shoulder. This whole time they'd just been in the fetal position, holding their breath. An effective method of hiding out, I couldn't deny them that. Are we cool now? Yeah. Come on, let's go. We got what we needed? Yep. Great. Good to hear. Though, do we really need cash at the moment? We just asked Polly for anything we need to buy. Just think of it as doing a good deed. Besides, I think it wouldn't hurt if we had a bit of cash of our own. We're not dependent on Polly's cooperation. You know, just in case. You're really an untrusting person, Vels. Indeed I am. Indeed I am. But so is Governor Aisha, apparently. Oh? Pretty sure even though she's decided our stunt was nothing more than a prank, she has her mystery man staying with her at the house on the guard. Huh. Well, it can't hurt, I guess. True, true. Point is, we're done here, so let's get back to Polly's house. Awesome. Just like that, we started making our way back. Despite feeling accomplished, there was a nagging part in the back of my brain. Part reminding myself that this wasn't really doing anything to help get Krish out of the situation that they were stuck in. It was a reasonable thought to have. It didn't appear like there was any correlation. How could I know that far down the line, getting that picture would actually inadvertently lead to a solution of sorts to the root cause of Krish's problems? I found this enlightening. Most people are shaped by more by our past than I care to admit. It's tragic. Not something we'd like to think about. Weird, considering it's the time of our life where we have by far the least control. Yet it is our earliest years that have the largest ripples. When we're born, we are all blank canvases. Sure, our palette might have already been selected for us, but our potential is still limitless. By the time we have some real agency, really nothing. Really know what's going on, the form of our painting is already finished. You want to really understand someone, a shortcut is figuring out their past. So I have to ask you, how do you feel about your former life? I don't remember it. Sure, concretely you might not. Sure, somewhere in you, your essence understands my questioning. Just rely on your gut. It's what you feel drawn towards. So then, this is a tricky question, one that requires not just introspection, but an understanding of cause and effect. Still, I'll ask it. What in your past do you think most directly led to you becoming who you are now? This is it. This is my personal answer, but parents and the like have a profound impact on their children, whether they like it or not. That's my personal answer, and that has several layers of meaning to it. Not all of which are good. That impact will usually ripple down from child to child in unique and unpredictable ways. Real chain of dominoes, you know. That in mind. If you had to choose between the two, would you consider your current life an embracing of your past or a rejection of it? Hmm. That's a difficult question. Does it count as embracing your past if you are trying to learn from it and not make similar mistakes that you've made in the past? Would that fall under rejecting your past? In that you reject the mistakes you made and you want to not make them again? I genuinely don't know. If you reject it, does that mean you're not learning from it? Where does learning from your past fall on this spectrum? I see, I see. You decided to play the hand you were dealt the best you could. A valiant option. Alright, so, now that we've examined your past in a bit more detail, how important is it to you? What would it take for you to completely give up on it? What would you need for you to willingly sever yourself from the past? To erase all memories of it? Hmm. How much would you need? A lot, huh? I think that's fine. Because it takes a lot to push people to the point where they have to go no contact with their birth families, distance themselves from that. It's a lot of times out of obligation to people you grew up with, raised you, or you were raised with, perhaps. But often, it takes a lot for them to finally hit that limit and realize that they're better off. That relationship has become toxic. They need to get out of that relationship. No, we are no longer talking about me in that regard. This is just a general point. We're not probably talking about. I'm also not truly talking about what EZ is talking about, I think. Just kind of taking her point in a different direction. I think that's fine. People who understand the value of their past are surprisingly rare. Yeah, we're definitely taking this in a different direction. I think that times your past can hold you back, especially when trying to hold on to your past becomes a toxic mindset. There are cases where it's better to cut the cord, better for you to cut the cord and go your own way. Even then, cutting the cord and going your own way might lead to a better situation down the line where you can rebuild that bridge somewhat. The way of learning your boundaries and enforcing them with the people, to the people around you. And then you stand up for your boundaries, then they either learn to respect your boundaries and your relationship can be rekindled in a healthier fashion, or it's done and you live a healthier, happier life without them. It isn't bad to be in that category. Okay. Sorry for this little diversion, and thanks for answering my questions. What about you? Me? My past? Sorry, I don't really have anything like that. As far as I can remember, I've always been me. Ever since I was born, I was like this. Wonder why? God knows. Only Themis knows. You tricky. Ooh, a silver key. This chapter is pretty important. Lock 5. Verta 5. Oh, we gotta unlock Eris 4. Or should we still call her Olaf? Now that we know her true identity. Which we learn surprisingly quick, so I'm really curious to see where Eris goes here. I'm actually really excited for Eris's chapters now. I'm really excited. Hopefully we don't get burned on that lock bed. I have a feeling we might get burned on that lock bed. A feeling that could be a rug. Like, could be a rug pull for us. Could get to next chapter and we have easy be like, oh, so sorry, Lock turned and ran away with your chips. Thank you for your donation to the campaign fund. Ta-ra for now. It was interesting. This was kind of a nice payoff to the budding tension between Krish and Vels. I feel like Vels' mindset towards Krish still isn't 100% healthy, but I think that's just Vels' own mistrust built up for so long. Even when it has come across like Vels has just been kind of using Krish and not taking them seriously, whatnot. We have sort of had the dynamic bubbling up here where Vels brushing off Krish leads to Krish blowing up at Vels with legitimate criticisms of Vels, but at seemingly the worst possible times. It was nice to see Vels actually open up and reveal that they do actually have honest care for Krish. Even if the way that Vels tried to play it off internally as it's a practical decision. I have to say something right now to appease them. Like I pushed their social link value dangerously low. I need to say something now, or else this social link is going to break irreversibly and ruin a lot of stuff right now. I need to say something now. I have to wonder if that isn't just like a mindset they don't really believe. Like, this whole, almost feels like distancing themselves from Krish. It's just part of the defense mechanism of sorts. Like, it really felt like Vels legitimately opened up to a certain degree, made themselves vulnerable to Krish in talking about their past. Despite giving the impression that I'm just doing this so that they don't blow up on me. They have every right to blow up on me. They acknowledge that. They have every right to blow up on me. So I just gotta do this so things don't get worse. Like, you can believe why Vels would keep all this to himself and why Vels would go about and try and distance himself in this quest to save Krish from the Duats. And why Vels wouldn't want to put Krish on the front lines in his quest to stop the Duats from killing Krish. He has very good reasons for that. I think Vels' attitude, that's what kind of led to him coming off as kind of disregarding Krish's thoughts and feelings and everything. Coming off dismissive towards him. So I don't think that's genuine disregard. I think that's just defensiveness. I don't know, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. I think this is certainly taking a turn. I'm not sure where this will go from here, but certainly this photograph, this event, it seems like the middle ground of Locke's story. Like, this is directly connected to the middle ground of Locke's story, so Locke and Vels going to their story is going to become more intertwined from here on out. I suppose we will see. Till next time, then. Until then. We have seen Devon enter Vels' story. Next, we'll see where Eris's story goes. I really don't know. We'll see next time, though. Until then, thanks for watching.